All right, here we go. Algebra 1, Section 1-5, Equations. First off, here are a few terms that we're going to be using throughout this lesson. So some key vocab. An equation is a set of algebraic expressions and symbols that contains an equal sign. Very important. There has to be an equal sign for it to be an equation. If it doesn't have an equal sign, we call that just an expression or an open sentence. A solution is a value that makes an equation true. That means whatever I can replace the variable with to make the equation true. So that number that I place in there. The replacement set, sometimes you're provided a set of numbers, and from that you have to pick the replacements to replace the variable. And then the solution set for that would be the set of numbers from that replacement set that make the equation true. So let's look at an example. Here we have a replacement set. We have the equation 2x plus 5 is 13. Find the solution set if the replacement set is 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So that means we have to plug each of these numbers in to that equation to find whether it's true and the one that makes it true, or sometimes there's more than one that makes it true. That is the solution set. So I'll make myself a table. I've got my x here. That's what I'm going to be plugging in. That's the input value. Then the function rule. And then I'll determine, is this statement true or false? So if we plug in our replacement set right here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I'll carry down my function rule. So I have 2 times x, and now I'm going to replace that with 2 plus 5 is 13. Let's check. Is that true? 2 times 2 is 4, plus 5 is 9. That is not true. That would be false. Okay, so now I can go ahead and fill in the rest of these columns and check. Are they true or false? So 2 times 3 is 6, plus 5 is 11. That one's false. 2 times 4 is 8, plus 5 is 13. So this one is true. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 5 is 15. That's false. And 2 times 6 is 12, plus 5 is 17. So this one is false. All right, so here's my table. Only one of these statements was true. So my solution set would be only that 4. We show that in braces for a set. We show that solution set is 4. To solve an equation. Solve an equation means simplify and get the variable by itself. The variable's already by itself in this equation. So all we have to do is simplify this part. So we have 3 squared minus 4. First thing we do, 9 minus 4. We get 5 times 2. Now we have to multiply. We get 10 plus 6. So we find out that t is equal to 16. That is called the solution for this equation because I can plug 16 in for t here and it makes the statement true. Solve this one. Notice the variable is not by itself, so I'm going to have to get the variable by itself. Solve this. We've got 4 squared. 16 minus 10 gives us 6 in parentheses. 7 minus 6 is 1 plus n is equal to 10. There, let's fill that in. There we go. And then finally, to get the variable by itself, we have to undo this expression, so I'm going to subtract 1 from each side. and that gets me n is equal to 9. So there's only one value that makes that true, this expression right here. I can only plug 9 in there after I've simplified this to make that true. So the solution is 9. Now let's look at this expression here. 3 plus 2, that gives us 5. 5 times x is 5x plus 6 is equal to 5x plus 10 minus 3 is 7. Now if I keep solving this here, okay, if I keep solving that, I can either subtract 5x from each side, or I could subtract 6 from each side. Now notice 5x plus 6 equals 5x plus 7. Something doesn't seem quite right. If I want to move the variable to the other side, I'd have to do that by subtracting. This would cancel out. This would also cancel out, and I'd get an expression that says 6 equals 7. And we know that's not true. So sometimes there is no solution. We call this a null set, symbolized by a 0 crossed out, or an empty set. We've got the braces with nothing in them. You might have an expression like this. Once we simplify this, 3 times 12 plus 9c over here. 2 squared is 4, plus 5 is also 9c plus 36. And then here we get 9c plus 36, if we put that in order. Starting with the variable term first. Now we have 9c plus 36. This looks similar to what we had on the other page, but if I subtract, if I get rid of this variable term, and this one also cancels out, then I get 36 equals 36. And that's actually true. 36 does equal 36. But what this means, I didn't get c equals 36. It says 36 equals 36. That means it doesn't matter what I plug in here for the variable. No matter what number, because I have to do the same thing on the other side. No matter what number I plug in there, it's going to be true. So the solution for this is all real numbers. If you get something that on the one side is the same as the other side, the solution set is all real numbers, or you could simplify that with the solution set of all real numbers. And then let's look at a couple of word problems. Mr. DeSalle pays $8 each month for movies delivered by mail. He can also rent movies at Redbox for $1. Not anymore, but you used to. Write and solve an equation to find the amount Mr. DeSalle spends on movies if this month he rents 3 movies from Redbox. Well, we know that he already has a subscription. He's going to pay $8. Doesn't matter how many movies he rents. Plus, if he rents movies from Redbox, 3 movies times the $1. And that equals the total amount. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 8 gives us $11. The total amount is $11. Okay. Here we have a distance problem. 65 miles per hour. Steve drives an average of 65 miles per hour. Write and solve an equation to find the time it will take him to drive 36 miles. So the distance equals rate times time. So if we want to drive 36 miles, we have 36 is equal to, the rate is 65 miles per hour, times the time. Notice this is in hours, time in hours. So now to solve that, divide by 65 on each side. And this comes out to approximately 0.55 for the time. But what does that mean, 0.55? Well, the time is equal to 0.55 hours. Well, if I want to be more specific, that's every hour is 60 minutes. So instead of hours, I can use substitution here and put in 60 minutes. Because an hour is 60 minutes. And then multiply this, and I would get a time of approximately 33 minutes. And that's it for today. See you tomorrow.